Hey guys, it's San and welcome back to the BulbaSquad. So today we're going to be covering Vivid Voltage and running it through the spider system. So for those of you who are new to the spider system is used to predict the long-term growth potential of a set. Obviously this is not going to give you exact numbers because I don't have a crystal ball. But this is at least going to give you some form of guidance that which you can apply it to sets in the future, and I'll be applying them periodically as time passes. And here's what it stands. Here's how this works. SPIDER is an acronym. It stands for supply, playability, intrinsic value, deviation, expectations, and reality. And pretty much self-explanatory. Deviation's how often we miss the intrinsic value. Intrinsic value is worth how much the card are worth inside of the box. Supply is how much is out there. Expectations, what did everyone think of the set? And reality is what actually happened. We evaluate this over a release to 6-month time span, then 6 to 18 months, I recently adjusted that, and then 2+ years. But because there are certain factors in a Pokemon set that just de facto improves the set, we have constant. If there is a Charizard, if there is a shiny Pokemon, or if there is a very nice diversification of Pokemon. So, here we go. And actually, there's one I completely forgot to add. Trainers. I'm just gonna put TR. Trainers are something that have not even trainers. Let's say waifus, trainer waifus. De facto, that improves the set. It has now been proven when I developed the system, waifus were not really a thing that really influenced the set. Now they are. Vivid Voltage, let's run it through. Charizard, technically, yes, because there's a reverse holo Charizard. But I'm not going to give it to it, okay? I am not going to give it the Charizard because at the end of the day, it's a reverse holo. It doesn't matter, okay? Shiny. Shiny, yes. All Sword and Shield base, or all Sword and Shield set other than base, have shiny Pokemon in them. I don't actually remember. I think it was a Colossal and Rillaboom, I believe. No, I'm not sure anymore. Sorry about that. For the Pokemon, yes. This set actually had fantastic Pokemon diversity, and it brought one of the flagships with it, Pikachu. So having these things already right out the gate, shinies, it's kind of meh. I think it's just been really nice fluff all the Sword and Shield sets have received. And waifus, yes, this came with a couple waifus. Right out the gate, I'm feeling pretty confident on Vivid Voltage. It's managing to hold its own out there. Supply, from release up to 6 months. Supply, actually, the supply was fantastic. Not meaning that there was a lot out there, but meaning there wasn't enough. Keep in mind, Vivid Voltage was the first main set that released after the Logan Paul boom. And because they were nowhere near ready, it got obliterated. And every single time this set has gotten a restock, it gets obliterated. Why? Even at the age of alternate arts, Vivid Voltage is still able to hold its own. Some way, somehow, because of how many rainbow rares there are in this set, because there's quite a few, and the amazing rares. You cannot discount having a green code actually be exciting. Because ask yourselves, how often do you open up a pack, you see a green code, and you kind of go, you just quickly go, see what the reverse holo, throw it away. Honestly, that's part of what makes Hidden Fates, Shining Fates so fun. Playability. From what I understood, it wasn't that playable of a set. It wasn't a set that was driven by the playability. This was one that most people were collecting. This is fantastic. The reason we don't want it to be very playable is because Pokemon tends to reprint the sets that are playable. Think of Roaring Skies. I believe it was the Shaman EX that was extremely playable. And it means there's a possibility they'll reprint it much further down the line, more easily than if it has nothing playable for the TCG. You feel me? Now, intrinsic value. Now, right out the gate, this set, because of the waifu diversity, the trainers, the Pokemons that were involved, and how the value was pretty well distributed, it was actually a really good intrinsic value that's been keeping up with the box price fairly well. Remember, we are not looking for a 1-to-1 core ratio, because if we get that, that's realistically not what's going to happen. Usually, if you're at that level or higher, arbitrage will occur. Because if you have a one-to-one relationship, it means that there's going to be plenty of boxes that are above that intrinsic value with plenty below, and people will gamble. Deviation. Now, I would actually say the deviation for this set is not very good. Reason for that is this intrinsic value is heavily skewed by the Rainbow Rare Pikachu. Why? Because that Rainbow Rare Pikachu is the most expensive card of the set by a far away. It is absurd how expensive that card is. Last I checked, it was like a $300 Rainbow Rare, which is a fair price. Because regardless of what anyone says, I don't believe anything is short printed. If I remember correctly, there are 15 Rainbow Rares in Vivid Voltage, meaning you have to open up roughly 30 booster boxes to pull any given Rainbow Rare, but everyone wants Pikachu. And knowing that, that's not an easy card to pull. I've seen people open up 3 cases and only pull 1 Pikachu, which only further cemented my belief. So deviation, not good, but this isn't a set killer, okay? Because it's not a set killer. We've seen this happen with, Neo Revelations was one of them that happened before. Neo Discovery, we've seen it with Burning Shadows more recently. And then we've also seen it in, I believe, Battle Styles has been kind of a lottery. Now, expectations for Vivid Voltage, they were through the roof. Absolutely through the roof. The moment you saw those pre-release, or not even that, when we saw, I believe, Shocking Volt Tackles, what the Japanese name was, everyone got excited because the Pikachu, that was exciting. Then pre-release came out, and the Build and Battle kits had a Charizard in it. That was a unique art. That's going to deserve its own video in the future. That's coming up. Reality. This set was a home run. Supply was obliterated. Everyone was happy, hence why the intrinsic value is high. If it's high, it means people want what's in the box. Deviation, who cares? People are kind of happy with the lottery system. And then their expectations were in fact met and exceeded, even if the Charizard, which, again, I can say like yes, no, because pre-release had the Charizard and it was a reverse holo, but at the same time, the set Charizard wasn't that good. So you see, I think in the end, the fact that the pre-release Charizard will look so good, because it really did, improved the expectations and the reality of the set. Now, fast forward, we are, there it goes. We are now about 7 months past the Vivid Voltage release. How are we looking? Supply? Supply's still good. The prices haven't really come under control. Honestly, because, again, every time we get a restock, it just kind of gets obliterated. Playability doesn't exactly change that much. Because what's happened is everything that's cracked, the singles are already out there. Even if the set kind of becomes playable, with all these singles already out there, it's not going to affect it that much. It's usually, if playability is at the start, it runs through most of the set's lifespan. Intrinsic value for this set. It's actually still pretty good. It hasn't gone that bad. Here, again, remember, keep in mind, this is modern. I consider Vivid Voltage onwards to be risky, but the real risk really begins with Battle Styles and Shining Fates. With the intrinsic value, I don't know what's going to happen to it. This is a set that's being cracked a lot. All of these Pikachus are being sent off to grade. We don't know where it's going to settle. So that intrinsic value, don't let it fool you. Time may change things. Time changes a lot of things. Remember Steam Siege. Steam Siege killed stores and people were fire selling it for $60 a box. Now, if you can pick one up for $150 or under $200, that's a deal apparently. So remember, perspective and time changes things. If the supply suddenly spikes up for the singles, which I'll establish that relationship later on, I'm figuring that out, then the intrinsic value can plummet. So be careful there. Deviation absolutely has not changed. The cards that were not very sought after in the set just plummeted further, and the Pikachu just stayed where it is. Nice and steady deviation, never gonna fix itself. That's a constant, usually. Unless if, for whatever reason, a Pokemon ever suddenly comes into the spotlight and becomes a fan favorite, which doesn't happen too often, but it can occur. Expectations. Everyone still expects everything out of Vivid Voltage, and reality, Vivid Voltage is still a home run set. People will clamber over themselves to get the boxes for a sub 150. Like, this is a fantastic set. Anytime I've seen these boxes come out for 120, 110, they get scooped up immediately. Everyone wants the product. It's a good product. So, remember, we are only to this point, and we are not even to the important 18-month mark. Because time is what I'm looking for. So we're going to do some speculating on 2+ years. I speculate the supply will never get rectified. It's never going to get rectified. At this point, Shining Fates could use a reprint, I'm assuming. If theoretically that Sun and Moon era, where they just kind of go through and start reprinting things, happens, I don't really see Vivid Voltage supply ever getting fully rectified. Like, I can see more of it coming out and it's stabilizing into the hundreds. But I don't ever see this becoming a $110 box, $190 box. It's just, I think we're past that point now. Playability, never going to change. We're good there. Intrinsic value, I think in the long run, we're either actually going to see it go neutral, or we might see it go bad. The reason for this, again, whenever a set goes beyond, when it goes beyond the 2+ years, it goes into that realm of theoretically shouldn't be printed anymore, because Pokemon's habits, say whatever you want, make up whatever you want to say. Historically, Pokemon's habits, once it goes out of that rotation, which is roughly 28 to 30 months, they don't reprint. Usually, some things have been very bizarre, and that's just been a bizarre year. Once it goes beyond that point, we start connecting the intrinsic value of the box to the value of the graded cards in the box. This is not like Magic. The raw cards don't matter. We like to grade them. We like to collect the graded cards. And if every single Rainbow Rare Pikachu that comes out of these boxes gets graded, and it has a solid 9-10 ratio, it's going to probably damage the Pikachu's value. And the thing is, all the other cards, which remember, we have pretty bad deviation in this set. If all these other cards are kind of moving sporadically, and not really managing to climb up to compensate for the loss in the Pikachu value, it's going to drop the intrinsic value. Deviation, again, the absolute best case scenario I see is it either going neutral or just kind of staying where it is. That's not supposed to be a plus, it's supposed to be an X, but I'm running sideways. The best thing I could see would be it going neutral, which you don't want to happen, because that means the Pikachu came down in price. And if the flagship, the lottery card of the set goes down, in this day and age with the way lottery cards work, it's going to damage the set as a whole. Expectations. I expect them to still be through the roof. Reality, I do expect the set to age well. So, you saw me slamming on the intrinsic value and the deviation, yet I still say it'll be good in the long run. Why? Simply put, this is a fantastic set. These sets carry Gambler's premiums. Look at Burning Shadows. You are like, what is the ratio? Something like 18 boxes out of like 18 out of 20 boxes or 19 boxes, you're going to get burned. But whenever you hit that Burning Shadows Charizard, you're happy and suddenly everything's great. People are still going to pay to open it. People are still going to want to gamble. The Gambler's premium is very real. And this set has enough diversity where, realistically, you could open a box, not get your money back, but you're still happy. Amazing Rares are nice. Pikachu's nice. Togekiss is nice. All these little Pokemon that aren't, again, not the greatest, and then the trainers that are also pretty solid, all of them will combine to create a very enjoyable experience. And while I do say that over time, people's memories of the set change, to an extent, people remember the beginning, okay? They remember how it started, especially if it was a good experience. If it's a good experience, you will carry that forward with you, and you'll remember the set fondly. But my biggest concern with every modern set right now in the Sword and Shield block is that the intrinsic value is going to drop because of all of the cards being sent to PSA, BGS, CGC, GMA, whatever you want to say. I'm worried about that. Because historically, the box prices are correlated to the intrinsic value of the graded cards. And historically, if the intrinsic value drops, so does the box price. Overall though, if we end up getting a nice equilibrium point, regardless of what happens, Vivid Voltage will be a set that stands out. Vivid Voltage, I would argue, is better than Battle Styles. Not better than Chilling Reign. Chilling Reign is on a whole another level. We got to talk about that one later in the future, when we finally hit the 6 months plus. But tell me, what do you guys think of my evaluation? Is there anything you would change on this? Would you say that the intrinsic value is going to keep going up? Or maybe are you looking for like a 70% plus, 80%, 90% plus correlation in between the box price and the intrinsic value? Maybe you actually believe that deviation, high deviation, is good because it means more people will crack the boxes and further dwindle the supply. Tell me, what would you change on this? Because this is an ever-evolving system, as the hobby is an ever-evolving hobby. So, thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.